Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to a DVD review of Family Wrestling Entertainment (FWE Retribution). This was FWE's debut show, which took place back on Saturday, January 22nd of 2011, from St. Patrick's Gym in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, which I attended. The ring announcer AJ Pan welcomes the crowd to the show and introduces R&B recording artist Melange, or Milage. I apologize if I didn't get her name right. And she sang the national anthem. After she got done, Pan takes back the microphone and says that he's telling the crowd about some of the stars that were going to be on this very event. And Melange or Melage was given the microphone back. She was singing a song she wrote called "I Don't Really Care" or "I Really Don't Care." It was basically a song about anti-bullying. And eventually, Damian Darling and Rick Silver, attorney at law, come in the ring, and they tried to get the microphone away from her, but she managed to get it, but it didn't happen. Eventually, they get the microphone, but she continues to sing and starts to dance a little bit. And Darling and Silver are saying, this is a pro wrestling event. And she eventually gets the microphone back, and she's still continuing to sing the song. And then Darling gets the microphone and tells her to get out of the ring. Darling and Silver, they basically run down the crowd. And from there, Darling and Silver, they issue an open challenge for later in the show. And at first, there's no response from anyone. And Silver says, I don't think anybody in Brooklyn anybody here wants to accept your challenge. But then out comes Eric Young, who was part of TNA at the time. And Young was saying, tonight, Damian, you and I are tag team partners against the mystery tag team. And Young high fives Darling before leaving the ring. Darling says to Rick, Mr. Silver, he's dumber than I thought. And then they leave the ring, and we finally get our first match of not only of the show, but of FWE history, as AJ Pan introduces Uncle Stephen Dumang, as the referee of the first matchup, and he introduces Jay Santana. But instead, out comes yours truly, Alex Reynolds, who comes to the ring to the Backstreet Boys song Larger Than Life. Reynolds, and then Jay Santana comes out, as this was the scheduled match for the show. Reynolds, for those who don't know, started with the New York Wrestling Connection in Long Island. Jay Santana was trained at Gino Caruso's East Coast Professional Wrestling in New Jersey. And Jay, I don't know if this is true or not, Jay, they say, is the nephew of WWE Hall of Famer Tito Santana. Not sure if that's true or not, because Tito Santana's actual name is Mercedes Solis, and I don't know if he really is related to Jay or not, or if they even worked together. The match was on, and Jay, in the early going, had worked on Reynolds' arm. Reynolds eventually took control of the match. When Jay was on the apron, he attempted to shoulder block Reynolds in the midsection, but Reynolds jumped and hit a knee to the back of Jay's head. Reynolds, I think he had a chin lock on Santana. He did his double kick to the chest, where took Santana down when Santana charged him in the corner. Santana, for a second time on the apron, he tried for a shoulder block, but Reynolds jumped and tried to do a knee drop a second time, but Santana was ready. Reynolds missed, and then Jay launched himself from the apron to the top rope and hit a flying forearm to pick up the win. It wasn't exactly like the AJ Styles phenomenal forearm, but nonetheless, Jay Santana picked up the victory. I thought this would be a good opening matchup. Nice way to warm up the crowd. The next matchup was tag team action, and AJ Pan introduced Johnny Knockout to referee this match. As on one side we had Team Tag, Anthony Silva and Killa S, as they took on the Midnight Sensations, Chris Rockwell and Sam Shields. Both of these, well, team tag formed in 2010 in Ace Pro Wrestling, which at the time was in Union City, New Jersey. The Midnight Sensations, I also watched them in Ace Pro Wrestling and first saw them team up as the Midnight Sensations in 2009. For some reason, the kids in the crowd were chanting "Girls Wear Purple," making reference to the Sensations' attire. And then they left the ring, and Johnny Knockout starts counting, but then the Sensations eventually come back. And the fans were, let me see, kind of giving the Sensations a hard time. And it was great, like, double team offense by both teams. You know, I think Killa S had like a nice moonsault from the second rope to the floor, and Silva did a forward dive off the top rope onto everyone. Then they did some double team maneuvers on Shields in the corner. So, what's his name? I forgot if it was Silva or Killa S. One of them tried to launch from the apron, and Sam Shields grabbed his ankle and pulled him down to the floor. The end came when Shields had Killa in a position for an exploder suplex, and Rockwell jumped off the rope and kneed Killa in the back, and then Sam gave him the exploder suplex and pinned him to pick up the win, and this was the only tag team match on the show. Pardon me. Then after this one, we had a triple threat match, which saw Bruno Marciano, Azriel, or as the voice Michael Schiavello, who did voiceover commentary on the DVD, referred to him as Azriel, versus Mike Law. Now, Mike Law was not dressed as a police officer. However, he did come to the ring to Inner Circle's Bad Boys, which was the theme of the TV show Cops. I think this match was very good. Bruno, of course, came out of the New York Wrestling Connection. Azrael from the LIWF Doghouse. I do not know where Mike Law was trained at. The three of them managed to make a great matchup here. I believe Azrael did his electric chair drop onto Bruno Marciano. The end came. Law tried to give Bruno the sliced bread number 2, but Bruno threw him off. Law lands behind him, and Law did the O'Connor roll to pin Marciano and win the triple threat match. After the match was over, Azrael attacks Law, gives him the electric chair drop, and they top rope leaping, jumped off the top rope with a double stomp to the back of Law's head and left him laying. Next up, we had a battle of high flyers as the Master, Wes Draven from the Concrete Jungle, took on Spiral. Draven I first saw at Ace Pro Wrestling back in years earlier in Union City. Spiral actually had debuted with Ace around 2010, I believe. Very good high-flying matchup by both of these guys. Spiral at one point hits a moonsault off the top rope, and he noticed a guy in the crowd with glow sticks, and Spiral takes the guy's glow sticks and decides to, you know, Spiral. Let's say I'm Spiral, and the fan's right in front of me. He takes the glow sticks, and he does that. Tries to play the fan's chest like they're a drum set. Eventually, Draven gets back in the ring. He hits a flipping leg drop. He hit this awesome head scissor into a destroyer, or as P.D. Williams called, the Canadian Destroyer. Draven, I forgot what other movie hit. But the end in this matchup came when Spiral brought Draven, I think he tried a Hurricane Rana, and Spiral caught him, and it looked like Spiral was going to give Draven a Super Styles Clash off the second rope, But instead, he did a flip, I guess call it the spiral bomb, into a power bomb, which I guess we call the spiral bomb, and Spiral was victorious in the matchup. While both men were still down, out comes Alex Reynolds, the Midnight Sensations, Azriel, Bruno Marciano, Boris Napoca, Damian Darling, Rick Silver, and Comrade Chow, and basically having a brawl, doing a number on both Draven and Spiral, until the Patriot comes in the ring, and then he's ganged up on. Then Eric Young hits the ring. The heels gang up on him. But then all of a sudden, Shad Gaspard, who was previously one half of Crime Time in the WWE, and Charlie Haas, as they're running the ring, Gaspard grabs AJ Pan, and I don't know if he tried to throw him into the ring, but when Gaspard and Haas entered the ring, that's when the heels cleared out and then helped all the faces out of there. And Gaspard was all alone in the ring and asked AJ Pan to come back in the ring. He apologized for what he did to him. And Gaspard is right behind AJ Pan, and Gaspard gave Pan a wedgie and spun him around for the whole crowd to see. And at that point, they did go to intermission. After intermission, the kids in the crowd were chanting wedgie towards AJ Pan. But AJ Pan introduces Malta the Damager. Malta was accompanied to the ring by someone who, I guess he was supposed to be like a Maltese priest or some sort of religious figure. Malta gets the microphone. He says, this promotion means a lot to me. We're about family. We're a family in the back. He says, you think tonight's show is this show is something, wait till you see the next one. Malta then talked about that he's facing Shad Gaspard in the main event, saying, this guy's no joke. But then all of a sudden, he's interrupted by Jason Gotti and Joey Ace, Diamond Incorporated, accompanied to the ring by the Diamond D. And, Gotti was saying, we were left off the show. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to beat the New York Jets tomorrow. And it says, nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about Shad Gaspard. And Malta looks at them and says, Shad's taking bigger turds than the two of you. And they grab a chair and they're about to go in the ring. But then Charlie Haas enters the ring and he's standing next to Malta. But then Haas attacks Malta. Diamond Inc. come in the ring with the chair and they hold him down and they they put Malta's left arm inside the chair. Haas jumps off the second rope, stomps on the chair that had Malta's arm in it. Then Shad Gaspard comes to the ring and, chases away the Haas and Diamond Inc. And Gaspard helps Malta out of the ring. Up next was our next matchup. We saw Boris Napoca, accompanied the ring by Comrade Chow. Napoca is, for those who don't know, a pro-Russian character, doing a pro-Russian character. Napoca is none other than Jordan Schneider, who founded and started FWE. Comrade Chow is Conrad. I don't know his actual last name. And Chow was dressed up as a North Korean soldier. He's waving the Russian flag. He eventually gets his hands on the microphone. Little kids are chanting USA. He keeps saying, "No USA! No more USA!" And then out comes Napoca's scheduled opponent, the Patriot, who enters the ring to Rock You Like a Hurricane by Scorpions. And Patriot hands out miniature, small American flags to the kids in the crowd. And it's safe to say myself and those around me, sitting near me, we basically invented family karaoke entertainment as we were doing the chorus of, singing the chorus of the song. Then the match was on. Let's see. Napoca and Chow didn't get in right away, and the referee started counting. Napoca and Chow, they hit the ring, double teaming the Patriot. Patriot grabs him, retaliates with a noggin knocker. Then at that point, the Patriot gives the Patriot gives Chow a wedgie. And eventually, well, the match obviously continued. A lot of stuff, a lot of silly stuff. Patriot grabbed Napoca, went for a chop, and he ended up hitting the ring post. Patriot took hold of Napoca's arm, where the little kid could like hit him in the hand, and Patriot did the same thing with Chow. At one point, Patriot was going to pull grab Napoca's legs, was going to pull his groin into the ring post. Chow's hanging on to Napoca's hands and arms, so he doesn't get pulled in. Eventually, Johnny Knockout, who's the referee of this match, he's grabbing Chow from behind, trying to get him out of there, and it kind of looked like Knockout kind of like tried to German suplex Chow in the process. And then, but Patriot was successful pulling Napoca's legs where his groin hit the post. Patriot then did the same thing to Chow. The end of this match finally came where Chow comes up to the apron with the Russian flag. Napoca was going to Irish whip Patriot, but Patriot reversed. Napoca puts on the brakes before he bumps into Chow. Patriot drop kicks Napoca from behind. Napoca bumps into Chow, knocking him off the apron. Patriot schoolboys Napoca to win the match. After the match, Chow gets the microphone. He says, "Next show, flag match." And then the Patriot took the microphone and he says, you want to see us me fight him again in a flag match? And, that was pretty much the end of that part of the show. Next up, out comes Damian Darling and Rick Silver, attorney at law, sporting Pittsburgh Steelers jerseys. And out comes Eric Young, and Young was saying about doing a tag match, but Young had the microphone, and Young, one fan took his New York Jets jersey off, and Young put it on. Then some little kid had a New Jets jacket. Eric tried to put it on, but it was way too small for him to fit. Gave it back to the kid, and like I said, Eric had the microphone. He says, "Wait a minute, you guys are telling me he's not my tag team partner?" And they were trying to tell him, "No, you're wrestling against him." And eventually the match was on, and the fans were all over Darling. Kids were chanting, "Girls wear pink." At Darling, who was in pink attire. Can't remember too much of this match. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not really a big Eric Young fan. But Eric Young, the end of this one came when Eric Young pinned Darling with a pile driver. Okay, then it was main event time. Shad Gaspard comes to the ring, but he's attacked from behind by Charlie Haas, who had like something in a big long case. I don't know if that's something you pack an instrument in or what musical instrument in or what it was, but he used it, attacking Gaspard from behind and gaining the upper hand before Gaspard even got in the ring. Then eventually Haas belly back suplexed Gaspard, where Gaspard's back was hitting the guardrail on the outside. Gaspard eventually got some offense going. Gaspard hit the rope, but Haas pulls the referee in the way, and Gaspard accidentally hits the referee, knocking him down. Haas went to grab a chair, but Malta the Damager comes out, takes the chair from Haas. Gaspard nails Haas with an STO and pins him to win the main event. Eventually, Shad and Malta are in the ring, and Diamond Inc. come back out, and they and Haas are huddling up, and Haas decides, let's go get him. And they all slide in, but Haas slides in, but then he backs out, leaving Diamond Inc. to get beat up by Shad and Malta. And then Haas took off, grabbed the Diamond D, and left Diamond Inc. for dead. And then Malta and Gaspard hugged, and unfortunately, that match was supposed to happen that night, but I don't know if Malta was legitimately injured or not, but the match didn't happen, and that's how the show ended. And, going into this show, I thought FW was going to be just another indie, but, they proved to me that they had a thing going, and I couldn't wait for the next show to come. Funny note here, sitting near me for this show was William Fiora and Nicholas Infante. Also, Nicole Periscondo was there. I forgot. I think those were the only people I really knew that were in the crowd. And here's a funny note. And when the show was over, both Team Tag and the Midnight Sensations, they were on the train with me. And Sam's, I don't know if he married her yet. She had recorded the match while it was going on, and they were watching it. At least Team Tag was. But definitely, you know, it was a good time, and that was a good show. And folks, let me know, do you want more FWE reviews? Do you want more DVD reviews of past indies that I never did recap in the past? Let me know, folks. Let me know. Because I definitely have plenty more that I have yet to review. So let me know if you want to see more DVD reviews, folks.